Due to adult content, parental discretion is advised.
To begin.
Are you watching closely?
To begin.
I'm bored.
How to start.
What plaything can you offer me today?
Here's the deal. Just give me the facts. Just the facts. Only the facts. Breathe. Focus. Keep it simple. No doubt. Okay, welcome to Cock and Bull Minute, a Tristram Shandy story. A podcast in which, eventually, ostensibly, at some point, we will be talking about the 2005 film Tristram Shandy, a cock and bull story, 1 minute at a time.
Good Lord, what is this story all about?
Cock and a bull story.
Here's your host, me, Robert Black. Back again with guest Professor Sarah Black. In theory, we're moving on to Mother. We're talking about Group 10, Life as a House versus Mother. Although, as I said, I think last episode, the one before, you could do an entire movies by minute show about either of these movies, so they could spend many, many episodes talking about lots of details in both of these. Even though Life as a House has a lot of details that repeat, you could definitely meditate on that sort of thing. Mother, of course, is directed and written by Darren Aronofsky. Stars Jennifer Lawrence, Javier Bardem, several other people in very small roles, but they're the big ones. Michelle Pfeiffer and Ed Harris are pretty good in their bits. And a lot of extras when you get to Act 3.
So we could start with the obvious. Like Life as a House, Mother is also an allegory with the house as its primary symbol. So we have here the house as earth, or house as creation, because, of course, when you see the outside, it is completely surrounded by trees, so it is...
And no pathways.
Yes.
It's isolated.
Yes, no pathways.
When they show it at one point from above, and it's even in a circular clearing, where you can almost imagine it's a picture of like Earth in space.
Yes.
Which is deliberate. If you don't know the movie, I'm going to say watch it, but most of you won't like it, which is too bad for you. But a big part of it, is the metaphor of Mother for Earth. The characters don't have names, which if you watch with subtitles on, I learned, was that yesterday? That when we watch this, it could be problematic because you see interesting names like Cupbearer, which has a whole different meaning when you see it on the screen. But the main Javier Bardem's character is just called him. She is Mother, and there is,
Man and woman.
Man and woman, oldest son, youngest son.
Yes.
Zealot, and very meaningful names that go back to, and sometimes deliberately mix up biblical storylines, because the two sons, their storyline before it becomes violent feels more like, Esau and Jacob first, and then becomes Cain and Abel. It's like a mix of stories from Genesis, and that sort of sibling rivalry as the beginning of human conflict and competition. Although you didn't want to talk about the biblical stuff that much, and I have written plenty about the biblical stuff.
You can, yeah.
I will. It'll come up. Because I think each of the other things that are part of it, which we'll get to, like environmental issues, are connected directly to the biblical metaphor, and so is the metaphor of the house, the allegory of the houses, earth, and Mother as both this like Mother Earth figure, a physical representation of the larger house that's around her, and just a woman who is, you could also imagine, if this is God, she's just this character we all wrote out of the story because she's always telling us what to do.
So, while we have the house as earth, we also have the house as the brain, or the source of creation.
Yes.
And much like most house metaphors, you have the basement or the id. This is where most of the violence occurs. This is where the graphic sexual discussions occur. This is where the soldier's head getting blown off occurs. This
it's not the basement, it's first floor.
Is where the laundry room is the first floor?
No, that's the basement.
That's where the sexual discussion occurs.
Is it?
Yeah. That's where the worst of the wars and atrocities occur. Is in that laundry room.
Is it?
Yes.
I don't remember. I thought until the very end when she goes down there and lights it on fire, spoilers, she's the only one who ever goes down there. Well, and she takes woman down there once. But that was the first floor still. Maybe not. It's hard to tell at the end of the movie because
there's chaos.
It's chaos. Everything's dark unless something's on fire, and there are people everywhere. So you might be right about that one. But I mean, because I was thinking, at least up until that point, it was interesting that she is the only one who goes in the basement, and he's the only one who goes in the attic.
I think I am right, only because I was watching for this specifically.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think at that point, I was watching it this time. I was just like stuck on every single visual on the screen and imagining what you could do, breaking this down even further than like one episode, like a little discussion like this. Because you could focus on each little event in each one of those rooms and what is happening and what you could take it to as a metaphor for real events involving religion and everything else. But basement.
So, yes, so that's the basement. You have the ground level. While clearly there's a lot of chaos going on ground level, too. That's where we see most of the domestication occurring. And then upstairs, which is where the film begins and ends.
Well, technically it begins downstairs in the basement because we see that glimpse of Rachel Weisz as the previous mother.
A possible correction here. It's hard to be sure from articles about it on the internet because no one seems to actually know. But the woman at the beginning might not be Rachel Weisz. It might be Sarah Jean Labrosse, credited as foremother. And the woman at the end might be Laurence Leboeuf, credited as maiden. But it's hard to be sure. So I see the script. Do I have the script? I might.
Burning.
Well, the script wasn't very helpful. It's just woman at the beginning and new woman at the end. So, I guess I won't know unless I eventually find a way to talk to Aronofsky about it. Which would be awesome. Anyway, back to the discussion.
True.
But then, yes, it immediately goes to his office, study, whatever you want to call it, on the second floor.
And while there clearly is a lot to talk about in this film in terms of environmentalism, in terms of biblical parables, what I found most interesting, and this was my third time watching this film because I really like this film. I saw it twice in the theater when it came out, but I haven't seen it since then.
Same.
Is the role of women. So, thinking of where I want to start with this. I guess, first off, to note, neither film, neither Life as a House or Mother, would pass the Bechdel Test. So, in terms of what the Bechdel Test is, for any of your audience who might not know, that's two women appearing in a film talking about something other than a man. So, that does not occur in either of these films. It doesn't occur in most films, but it doesn't occur in these films. That doesn't make me not love these films. Passing the Bechdel test isn't a prerequisite to me loving a film, but it is interesting.
Do you use the Bechdel test in class?
I've discussed the Bechdel test
because I would suggest you even go further and use the Mako Mori Test, which is the further one coming from Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
Because it's not just, do they get to talk about something else, it's, do they have motivations that you understand?
Yes.
Do they have their own storyline? It doesn't mean the movie focuses on their storyline, but you can imagine they have somewhere to go and they have a reason to be there. Yeah. Which some movies, even their lead character doesn't get that. So it's a big one.
Yes. And so both of these films, both Mother and Life as a House, are stories of creation, but they're both told from a white heteronormative perspective. While the film is named Mother, her role is submissive throughout. She is his creation. Everyone in the film treats her as though she's invisible and powerless and made to serve him, made to humanize him.
Yep.
And so is Robin in Life as a House. Her function is also to humanize George and to help him process his trauma. So even the conversation where you have Mother discussing or having a conversation with woman is in the basement about how to please a man sexually.
Right.
And it's not enough. We see this in society. It's not simply enough for mother to create a home and to love him and to support him in his creative endeavors. She's not enough of a woman unless she can also keep up sexually, unless she can wear the right lacy underwear, unless she can make things interesting for him in the bedroom.
Just a quick aside that watching it this time, that moment where she throws the underwear behind the washer and earlier when she throws the guy's lighter behind the dresser are two. I loved those moments this time. I completely forgot they were in there. There's just these little silly petty moments that made her feel like more of a person. Because she's always just wants good things. She wants everything to be good. And then someone's just like, yeah, I don't need a lighter in here. That's a thing that burns stuff. I don't need this underwear because that's weird.
Yes. And that is the thing. And I would say that is how women often have to express things. They cannot express things directly because they don't ultimately have power in those spaces, so they take power where they can find it. So if they can take power in...
Yeah, the few times she has actual power in the film, it's almost accidental. It's just when she screams and you get that idea that her connection to the house means the entire place is uncomfortable. And one of those is when the house floods, which means that everyone wants to leave anyway.
So also interesting about the power dynamic is him. But him. He can bring people into the home.
Yes.
She doesn't bring anybody into or out of the home. He never listens to her when she wants people out of her space. So he can bring people into the home. He can also leave the home. He goes on a hike.
Yeah, she can step out the door but never leaves his porch.
So she can't do either one of those things, even though the home is her domain.
Yeah.
She doesn't have the power to go outside of it, separate spheres. She also doesn't have power within it. So as more people move in, she has less and less physical space in her home as well. She has fewer rooms she can work with.
Well, and even the one room she has, her bedroom, is taken over by people at one point.
Yes.
That she has to kick out of that room, and they don't like it.
And eventually, not only does she have no control over who comes in and out of her house and what happens in her house, she doesn't even have control over her own body. She's attacked in her own space twice. The first act of the film, she's attacked verbally by the man who comes on to her. I forget exactly what he says to her.
I don't know. Hey, we haven't met. I've known this family for years. And you?
This is my house.
Oh, well, it's a beautiful home. You want to take a walk?
What?
A walk. With me.
You see that? No. No. Please.
You want to take my number?
No, I don't want your number.
Well, why would you say that? You don't even know me. Let me give you
Let go of me.
Why?
Because I don't know you. Get down from there. From where?
But you see, you should, because you don't know what I could do for you.
I don't want anything from you.
Sassy.
Leave me alone.
You know what? Get out of my face. You're an arrogant cunt.
But he's clearly violating her her space, and then later on the attack is worse. She's both verbally and physically attacked, called a cunt, called a whore, torn into pieces by men who feel like they...
I think it's even more subtle than that. Even before the guy that openly comes on to her and then calls her names in the kitchen, there is the cupbearer who kind of follows her around and has this weird sort of clinginess where she doesn't want anyone in this house, and suddenly this one guy is following her around, is painting walls when this is her place to paint, and her place that she is still building when all these people start moving in. And it's like he's taking her roles of creation itself away for this random guy that was cupbearer.
Yeah. This also is a good example of the lead up or the like how that escalates throughout the film in terms of her space being violated and women in real life, and when that happens, if you're being followed around. I'm a 43-year-old average-looking woman and got catcalled walking to the store like a couple days. Like, these are just things that
well, yeah, and
happen.
painting her walls almost seems nice. Until you realize, no, it's a big part of her life right now, is that they're living in this house and she is fixing it up. You take that away, she doesn't have anything.
Yes, and we typically can't make a big deal out of it, can't say something about it. If we do say, she does go to her husband or go to him several times, and he does not.
He always sides with them.
Yes. And so, thinking more about the creation aspects, or creation being born out of destruction, when we do see woman and him make love, it's after a fight scene where she yells at him that for a man who wants to bear children, he can't even fuck her. After which he pushes her onto the stairs and violently takes her. I don't know what you think about that. It's kind of odd.
It's both kind of horrible, but it's a classic sort of movie thing where the sex starts as the man conquering the woman, even though she thought, like, this movie does a deliberate thing where it makes her call him out on it. Like, he wants children, but he won't fuck her. And then he gets violent. She joins in, of course, because that's how it goes in the movie. But also, what other option does she have in the moment is kind of the point. Along with even the feminist angle, is that there's no one else in her life. She doesn't want those other people. They're all strangers. She wants to fix up this house. As she told Woman earlier, she wants to fix up the house before they have a kid. She doesn't have a choice. However it goes. So if it goes violently, she gives in.
And yeah, that's the thing. She really does not have anywhere to escape.
I got nowhere else to go! I got nowhere else to go! I got nothing else. I got nothing else.
I used to think I had it all going. Everything I touched turned to gold. I had women and money, fine clothes and cars. My phone was always busy, and my friends were movie stars. Was always the center of attention. Surely everybody knew my name. My life kept on rolling, just like a river. I was always a winner in the game. Something in my soul was missing. Deep down I knew it couldn't last. Too many people I had stepped on. Too many tears in my past. Nobody ever really mattered. No one could say I was ever true. But slowly I started falling for someone who was just exactly like me too. Now my plans and dreams have all faded. Everyone I trusted let me down. The one that I loved married my best friend, and they moved to the rich side of town. I feel lost and abused, so confused, and I've never, ever, ever been so alone. Lord, I've come into you with my heart in my hand. Don't turn me away, you got to hear what I say, 'cause I got nowhere else to go. Lord, I've come into you with my heart in my hand. Don't turn me away, I don't know how to pray, I got nowhere else to go. Oh yeah. Don't turn me away, got to hear what I say,
so she can't leave the house. She can't.
Well, he never goes in the basement, but the basement's not a pleasant place. So when she's in the basement, she can be by herself, but it is a dark place that when there's bleeding, blood that gets on the floor, it drips down into the basement. There is a hidden room in the basement. There is a furnace in the basement. It's not a nice place.
Thing. As a woman who's rendered invisible and mostly, not completely, but mostly powerless in the film, that is where women tend to retreat, is into their own brain.
Yeah.
We go to dark places.
Which, of course, is the laundry room in this case, too.
We know women have incredibly high rates of anxiety disorders. I read an article just yesterday that stated that every single woman should be tested for an anxiety disorder, because essentially we all have one, because we're all living in this heteronormative, very sexist type of world where we can't even walk to the grocery store. We can't even, for the most part, have our own space. That's been talked about in literature before. Yeah. Virginia Woolf's A Room of Her Own, for example. Like, we don't typically have our own spaces to go.
Thank you for listening. This has been Cock and Bull Minute, a Tristram Shandy story. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Cock Bull Minute, or find us in the Facebook listeners group, Cock and Bull Pub. Find more content at lemmingdrops.com.